I can't stay married to a man who only brings in $900 a month. There's silence on the other end of the line, and I can almost picture my mother-in-law's shock. Are you there? Did you hear me? The mother of a man who earns just $900 a month? What are you talking about? I'm talking about Aaron. He makes $900 a month from his part-time job. You must be mistaken. Surely you're missing a zero. No, I'm not. It's exactly $900 a month. My name is Maria, a 29-year-old housewife. I married Aaron 5 years ago, and we've been living in a modest apartment ever since. We don't have children yet. We're not wealthy, but we've always managed to live comfortably, stress-free, pursuing the work we both love. About 6 months ago, a dark cloud began to cast a shadow over our once peaceful life. My mother-in-law, who lived nearby, suddenly insisted on moving in with us. Despite our repeated attempts to explain that it wasn't feasible, she refused to listen. To my dismay, my husband gradually started taking her side, and this caused a significant strain on our relationship. Then he made a decision that changed everything. Ever since my father-in-law passed away a few years ago, my mother-in-law had been living alone in her house. She managed just fine, but recently she claimed she felt uncomfortable living by herself and demanded to move in with us. However, the real issue wasn't her loneliness. Her house was old and in desperate need of renovations to remain livable. Instead of spending money on repairs, she concocted the idea of moving in with us, hoping to avoid the expense altogether. When we got married, my husband promised we would never live with his parents. Their house is just a 10-minute drive away, so if she ever needs anything, we can be there in no time. I've always known that my mother-in-law wasn't fond of me, even before we got married. She still takes every opportunity to make sarcastic remarks. Moving in with her would only amplify her hostility, and she would turn into the worst kind of mother-in-law. To make matters worse, she recently quit her part-time job and is now unemployed. If she were to move in with us, we'd inevitably have to cover her living expenses, and with our current financial situation, that's simply not possible. But my mother-in-law dismisses my concerns, saying, "Don't act so proud when my son is the one supporting you." Explained to her that I work from home and contribute to our household, but she just ignored me. She insists that with her son's income, we could live extravagantly. There's no way we can survive on my husband's income alone, so I've asked my mother-in-law if she even knew how much he makes each month. Without hesitation, she responded, "Of course, he's my son. And you're lucky to be married to such a well-paid man." Really? I thought, because if my husband's salary were that high, then surely a part-timer, working just 3 days a week, would be making a small fortune too. My mother-in-law, with her usual condescending tone, offered to handle the housework, so I could focus on earning more. "You can't even manage the finances when my son makes so much money. You must be a big spender, right?" "No, I'm not," I replied. "I work from home and I'm not a spender. I work hard every day and save diligently." Ignoring my response, she continued, "Well, money aside, this apartment is too small for 3 adults." When I pointed that out, she casually suggested, "Then why don't we move to a bigger place or buy a house?" It felt like my husband had been completely brainwashed. His entire attitude changed. I couldn't tell if he was just unable to stand up to his mother or if he genuinely wanted to live with her. He started pressuring me, telling me to stop being so stubborn, and then said something that made me seriously question everything. "Wouldn't it be more fun to live with my mother?" "What?" I was taken aback. "She's offered to take care of the housework. It would make things easier for you too, Maria." My husband seemed entirely on board with the idea of us all living together. I didn't know what to do and felt completely lost. I resisted the idea as long as I could, but my husband, growing frustrated, took drastic action. One day, while I was out, he moved out of the house. When I came home that evening and saw his things were gone, I immediately called him /. Where are you? All your stuff is gone. Yeah, I moved out. What? You never agreed to move in with your mom, so what's going on? I decided to just go ahead and buy a house. Buy a house? With what money? There was a brief pause, then I heard a different voice on the line. It was my mother-in-law. That's right, my son and I are going to live in the new house for a while. Maybe we'll consider living with you after you've had some time to think things over. But until then, I doubt you can even afford the rent on your own. You should be more grateful. Okay, well, excuse me. Hello. My mother-in-law continued to hurl sarcastic comments, but I felt so frustrated that I ended the call abruptly. They bought a house. I couldn't believe it. With their financial situation, there was no way they could afford such a purchase. I don't know where they are, but they can do whatever they want. Honestly, I can manage on my own just fine. I've been covering the rent with my own money, so I'm not worried about being on my own. The idea of divorce began to seem more realistic. A few days later, I received a call. Hey, Brother Tom, long time no speak. You know, Aaron and his mother are staying at my place. What? My brother owns a house, and shortly after purchasing it, he was transferred, leaving me in charge of managing the property. Hold on a moment. I rushed to check the safe in the bedroom. The key to my brother's house was missing. Tom, the key is gone. Have you called Aaron? No, I'm outside the house right now. I'm sorry, Tom. It's a complicated situation. Have a good idea of what might be happening. What should I do? We could call the police, but they're your family. I doubt they'll get involved. True. I'm sorry. I'll handle it in a couple of days. Can you hold off for now? All right. Let me know if there's anything I can do to help. Thanks. After ending the call with my brother, I dialed my husband. I hope you're feeling some regret now. Why is my mother-in-law answering? Where are you? Oh, you don't sound very remorseful yourself. What's going on? Seriously, where are you? I don't owe you any explanations. You're clearly desperate, aren't you? You're not ready to give up a husband with a $9,000 monthly salary. $9,000 a month? Who are you talking about? Who else but my son? He's got enough money to buy a house like that. Ha ha ha. I couldn't help but laugh out loud. What's so funny? Aaron mentioned that if you don't agree to his terms, he's prepared to go through with the divorce. I see. Well, if that's the case, then a divorce is just fine with me. How stubborn can you be? If he leaves you, you won't manage on your own, will you? Of course I will. I'm not interested in staying with a husband who only earns $900 a month. There was silence on the other end of the line. It seemed my mother-in-law was at a loss for words. Hello? The mother of a man who earns just $900 a month? What are you talking about? I'm saying Aaron makes $900 a month from his part-time job. You must be mistaken. You're missing a zero. No, I'm not. It's exactly $900 a month. When I asked Aaron about his salary, he confirmed. It's around 9. Yes, that's right. Around 9. It's hard to believe that your son only makes $900 a month. But $9,000, that's a significant salary. Actually, it's my own earnings that cover all our expenses. Just to clarify, my salary is around $5,000. If that's what you're imagining. I'm not financially supported by him. My husband quit his job a few years ago, and now only works part-time, 3 days a week. When I explained this to my mother-in-law, she remained silent. I continued with my explanation. Also, the house you think Aaron bought, it's actually my brother's. This house was not purchased by Aaron. It's my brother's property, and I've been managing it while his family lives elsewhere. He entrusted me with the key, and Aaron took it without permission. What you and Aaron have done is a clear criminal act, and I will be reporting it to the police. Hold on a minute. We'll leave. But please don't call the police. My mother-in-law slammed the phone down, and I could imagine her and my husband having a furious argument. When I checked on my brother's house later, both my husband and mother-in-law were gone. They must have fled in a panic. I immediately called my brother to apologize for the trouble my husband had caused. Then I turned my attention to the final step, filing for divorce from my selfish husband. I signed the divorce papers and sent them to my in-laws' house. Shortly after, my husband called me, frantic. "Are you serious? I'm sorry about the house. Please reconsider. I can't stay married to someone who steals. Enjoy your life with your mother, who you seem to cherish so much. I can't live without you. Get a full-time job if you can. Good luck making $9,000 a month." My husband was reluctant to sign the divorce papers, so I enlisted a lawyer to expedite the process, and the divorce was granted without much trouble. I was finally free from the mother and son who had tried to force me into their home. My husband and mother-in-law continue to live in the same shabby house. My husband sought full-time employment through the unemployment office, but due to his extended period of part-time work, he struggled to find a company willing to hire him full-time. They're still surviving on his $900 monthly income, and his mother has resumed part-time work. The situation is far from ideal, with his mother constantly complaining and the two of them engaged in frequent arguments. I moved out of the apartment I shared with my husband and settled into a new place. Without the burden of supporting him, I'm now able to focus more on working from home. My income is steadily increasing, and once I've saved a bit more, I plan to buy a house for myself. It's clear that her husband never truly understood his own situation. If he had, he would have been grateful for his wife's support. Instead, his lack of insight led to this outcome. It's fortunate that Maria decided to divorce him. She can now enjoy a more peaceful and fulfilling life. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe to the channel. See you in the next one.